my mind was never thinking like comfort or luxury on a trip. My mind was thinking, what's the cheapest and yet fastest way of getting from A to B?
Like, I don't know if I should be at home, and I don't know if I should be working. I was caught in limbo. I was caught in indecision.
So the purpose of a goal is, it's not to get, it's to grow.
My whole life, my whole calendar still revolves around them. All I did was just accept some help.
Hi, I'm Dave Conway, and I'm here with my wife, Jacqueline. Welcome to the 30-Day Year. On this podcast, we're sharing stories, ideas, and philosophies to show you what it takes to turn your annual income into your monthly income. I've learned that the first step to creating a 30-day year is entertaining new ideas that might at first appear strange or even laughable. But stick with us as we reveal that this idea is a very real way to build success. Our plan is to spark curiosity into what you're capable of achieving by exploring ideas around freedom, contribution, work, life, everything. The content may even disturb your perception of life a bit too, which we hope it does. This podcast is not about us, it's all about you. So sit back, relax, and come in with an open mind. Welcome to the 30-Day Year.
This is yet another big idea that is on the road towards 30-day year achievement. And it's a bit painful, to be honest, because really what we're going to get into is the art of letting go. Like this process of shedding an old skin and then being reborn or rejuvenated into a new version. And I think this is a super important part of the process. Maybe, I hate to say the most important because I feel like we say that about everything, but it's a critical part. And it's like it's one that can lead to, I think, greater fulfillment for this uncovering of a new version of yourself. It's connected to identity. It's connected to so many things. So in your words, what does it mean to let go?
Well, when I think of the word letting go, I think of the word sacrifice. And the word sacrifice is letting go of something of a lower nature for something of a higher nature. And as I reflect back on my 30-day year, when I took my income from $5,000 a month to over $100,000 a month, it really was just this process of continually letting go of one version of myself for what I deemed as a more improved or a better version of myself. And when we think about letting go, our 30-day year actually is baked inside of letting go. So the achievement of a 30-day year has all to do with letting go. For example, let's say you are holding a rock about the size of your fist. Mm-hmm. And as you're holding it there, you cannot put anything else in that hand until you let go of that rock. So let's say there's a bag of $1 million sitting on a table, mm-hmm. and you have two rocks in each one of your hands, and you're holding on really, really tight to those things, mm-hmm. to those rocks. You cannot grab that $1 million until you let go of the rock. Mm. And mm-hmm. nature abhors a vacuum. So when you understand that you have to let go, once you let go, that thing will be able to then fill with something else. Mm-hmm. Another way to look at it is, let's say you have a glass of milk on a table, and you only have one glass. So you have a glass of milk, a glass full of milk on the table, and you want to put water into that glass. Well, the only way to get the water in there is A, empty out the milk, mm-hmm. and then, hopefully rinse it, because milky water I don't think is all that good.
No, it's grody.
Or you can just continually pour more and more water into the glass of milk until eventually the water will displace the milk.
Right.
Now, what's the fastest way of doing it? Well, the fastest way of doing it is to dump out the milk, clean the glass, and then fill it up with water. That would be the most efficient and effective way of doing it. Mm-hmm. So when we think about the 30-day year philosophy, it's actually about letting go of any other philosophy that isn't in alignment with a 30-day year.
So you're saying it's basically an all or nothing thing. There's no halfway in, so to speak.
That's right. And it's a terrifying idea, but it is the truth. It's like a lot of us have heard of, the concept of like burning the bridges or burning the boats, right? So it's like you cross the bridge, you light the bridge on fire so that you can't, run your scared little tushy back across and
Right.
retreat. So there's no retreat.
Right.
And when you let go, there's no retreat. So you have to let go. If you're going to let go, you have to let go. And we did a podcast on generosity. And generosity is an act of letting go.
Yes, it is. Releasing, right?
And that's right. So, and to let go at an uncomfortable level. So when I started to understand a lot of these ideas that have built the 30-day year philosophy, one of the biggest ones was to let go of my current belief system or my current philosophy of life. Now, most of us have not created our own belief system. They were created by someone else. So a lot of us are walking around with some of these beliefs and that we had absolutely nothing to do with. So no child was born a Catholic. No child is born a Muslim. No child is born a Buddhist. That's all indoctrinated. No child is born with an accent. That all comes from the environment. Like when I was a little boy and we came from Ireland, and I was about 6 years old when we came from Ireland and we moved to Canada. And when I was in school, all the kids used to say 33 trees. And if anybody knows, anything about the Irish accent, the Irish people can't really do their THs all that well.
Right.
So I'd say 33 trees. My dad still says that, 33.
Right.
Like, how old are you, boy? 33, And I said 33 trees. And then all the children would laugh. And I didn't know why they were laughing because I was just speaking.
Right.
And I went home that day and I was really, really mad and I was upset. And I said to my mom, every time I say 33 trees, the children at school, they laugh at me. And my mom said, well, that's because you have an accent. And I said, who told them I had an accent?
So cute.
Who told them? And then she said, I turned on her. I said, you told them I had an accent. But that's environment. That's conditioning. So when it comes to this belief system, we need to understand that very rare will you ever find a person that's been indoctrinated into a 30-day year philosophy. So really, it's about letting go of any other philosophy that isn't in alignment with this philosophy. There's a book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, and he says something in this book that I'm like, ooh, that's like kind of dangerous. And he says in there, do not go to any churches, do not read any books, do not listen to any lectures that share a different philosophy than this one. Now, that's dangerous because you can do a lot of bad with that.
How so?
Well, because then you're not exposing yourself to any other ways of thought.
Oh, yes. Okay. Like it's almost like putting the blinders up.
Right.
Almost becoming more closed-minded than open-minded.
That's right.
Perhaps.
So it's like right now, like in North Korea, like access to internet is like almost zero.
I think it is zero.
Exactly, except for certain people.
Right.
And the reason for that is because they don't want them knowing that there's an outside world.
Right. Don't actually know what happens outside
It's
of
a
this.
form of control. But as a form of control, it can also be a form of protection. So when you have a philosophy that's working for you and you really go all in on that idea, you have to let go of anything else. So you have to protect the philosophy because the more philosophies that you're exposed to, the more confused you can become.
Yes, totally agree with that. Because there's a lot of pathways to success, but if you're just always on the periphery of them and not really using them or learning what they mean and then applying them, then you'll just stay on that periphery. You won't get closer to the goal.
Yeah,
Just hover.
Imagine like this. Let's say like your goal achievement is like at the center of town. And you've got Tony Robbins Road.
Right.
And you've got Bob Proctor Road, and you've got Mel Robbins Road. And I'm just, pulling names out of my mind here. You've got Muslim Road, and you got Christianity Road, and you got Catholic Road, and you got all these roads.
Yeah.
And yeah, they all do. And then you got 30-day year philosophy road.
Sure. Yeah, they're all philosophies, really.
They are.
Yeah.
They're all a way of thinking. And each one of these roads will bring you to the center of town, but they're not all paved the same, and the speed limit's not all the same.
Right.
And if you keep jumping around, so if I'm on Tony Robbins Road for a week or two, and then I get, 1 kilometer, 1 mile down the road, and then I leave that road and I'm jumping over to, Mel Robbins Road, and then I'm jumping over to the 30-day year philosophy road, then I'm never going to get to the center. I'm not going to be on the road long enough to understand it. And I've personally found that the 30-day year philosophy road is the best pavement, and there's no speed limit, and you can drive a Bugatti up and down all you want.
Just a smooth highway. Nothing in your way.
Nothing in your way. So it's about letting go. And when I look back at when I went as a carpenter from earning $5,000 a month to doing this work that we're doing today as a mentor, earning over $100 a month, that all changed because I had to let go of the carpenter and $5,000 a month. Like, what we need to understand is that we earn the amount of money we're earning because we're in the habit of earning that. We charge the amount of money that we charge because we're in the habit of earning that. So when you start to challenge your own beliefs, when you start to put some of your most cherished beliefs up on the shelf and say, you know what, I'm going to let you go for now. I'm going to go entertain this one. I'm going to live through this one and give it a good shake. Like, I think if you're going to adopt a belief system that you are going to personally adopt and learn and educate yourself about, I think you need at least 2 years.
Yeah, I'd say so. Absolutely. To understand it, to implement it, try it in your life, at least.
Get feedback on it.
Probably more, to be honest. 2 years doesn't seem like enough, but yeah, at least. When I think about letting go, a lot of things come to mind because I think you're speaking in terms of almost like the, like letting go of ideas, perhaps, beliefs that need to go to make way for new ones. And then I also think of just in my physical world, things that need to go to bring in new things, or just clearing out of the old, because even in the objects in our home carry an energy and carry a story or carry a memory or something like that, good or bad. And not to say that you need to get rid of everything in your home, but decluttering has been a really powerful exercise in letting go for me, in terms of letting go of an old idea of myself to create harmony, to create order. And then all of a sudden, new ideas can start to flow in through that. And I feel like it's a nice way to begin by clearing your space, even clearing the place you work in, if you want to start simple, like just your desk space or however it is you work. But like clearing out the old to let in the new is for sure one of the most profound things I've done for myself in order to create a change. And it actually has begun just as simply with my home.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like if you go back to like the rock in your hand, and you're squeezing that thing so tight. If you had $1 million to give me, you wouldn't even be able to give it to me. And if I wanted to give you that rock, but I was squeezing on so tight, I wouldn't be able to give you that either. So the holding on negates the giving and the receiving.
That's right. It's like almost like the holding on is like this state of indecision. It's like this holding on for dear life, knowing that things are changing, knowing that the world has moved on, or knowing that you need to move on, but you're holding on so tight that it keeps you locked and stuck and afraid. And oftentimes if you just let go of the rock, you just let go of the job, you let go of the old couch in the living room, you let go of whatever it is that appears to be heavy or appears to be keeping you locked, all of a sudden you can find this unbound freedom when all of a sudden you can just release it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times too, like when it comes to letting go, we assume that we know what we like. So, for example, when I first started to live this way, I used to always fly at the back of the plane.
You were used to it.
Yeah, and why did I fly at the back of the plane? Well, I'd never flown at the front, so I'd never was exposed to that in my life. I never experienced that. And I like to pay the least
Sure.
for what I was
Most people
getting,
do that, think
right?
that way.
So my mind was never thinking like comfort or luxury on a trip. My mind was thinking, what's the cheapest and yet fastest way of getting from A to B? And I would purchase vehicles like that, and I would book plane tickets like that, and I would wear clothes that would reflect that. And I was unaware that it was that core cheapness. I was never a miser. I did have resentment around money and stuff, but never a miser. But to start to let go of that idea that backed all my decisions. So we touched on earlier, and I said it before, like the Generosity podcast. And if you haven't listened to it, go and listen to it. Because I have begun to build my entire life based upon generosity, which is purely based on letting go. Letting go of something now to make room for something different later. And you can't be in two consciousnesses at one time.
No, it's very difficult. To make this a bit practical for people listening too, there's a seminar that Dave and I teach called Vision Maker. And day 2 of Vision Maker, I typically love this stuff, right? I get into the tactics, the practical side of, goal setting, goal achievement, which is really about creating kind of like a plan, like what are you going to do to hit this goal? What are the big 3 things you're going to focus on to hit your goals? And there's this one session I teach, which is tied into letting go, because typically when I teach this particular session is we get into this method. So if we want to go after running an event every single month, well, in order to make space for that, what am I going to have to let go of? And in our case, when our business really grew, I had joined forces with you, but I was still tied to some other things, some other identities, some other projects. And I was the kind of person that, let's call me multi-passionate, which is basically a really creative person with a decision-making problem, but someone that just needs to do a lot of things because you feel like you have a lot to express. So I was like this, like I would acquire identities, I guess you could say. I was a dance teacher and I was really good at it. I was running fashion shows. I was a producer of fashion shows and ran a nonprofit to support designers. This was after my music days, so I was also consulting for different organizations and marketing. So I was working with like a book festival, a book organization, writing organization, as well as a children's museum. I was doing a lot. I was wearing a lot of hats because I guess I was playing. I was playing around. I was like trying to get to know myself better. But I remember when we made this goal, this 100K goal, and we committed to a monthly event, and I could see it. I was like, all of these identities are not helping with this goal. Like they're just taking energy. They're stealing energy. They're stealing the goal. They're actually forcing me to compartmentalize my thoughts, my thought energy. And when you do that, you spread yourself thin, You spread yourself so thin that your energy can't actually concentrate in this like really profound direction that can bring in the income, can bring in the impact, can bring in so much. So you have to let go. And then there was this one particular seminar I was sharing this with everybody, and I showed all the pictures. I was like, here's all my dance girls. And I just broke into tears because I was like, I had to let that go. And it was hard, but it was really important that it was just time. It was time for me to let go. And what was really powerful about that was that it was around the days of COVID, and I made the decision. I'm like, oh my God, if a global pandemic isn't telling me it's time to let go of some things, I don't know what will. So I remember calling my boss and telling her, I was like, I think it's my last year. And that was hard. But then a beautiful thing happened where one of my students that I trained from a young age, she was at this turning point in her career where she's like, I think I'm done with the cruise ship dancing and I'm done with the big city struggle. And I think I'm going to come home and I'm going to teach. I've always wanted to teach. And she came in and took over my classes. And I was like, what a beautiful thing. It's like, it was time for me to leave. It was time for me to exit and time to make way for sort of like the new person to come in. So it was a really beautiful thing. So we can be so scared to let go, but it can honestly be very cathartic and healing for you. And it can also pave the way and open the door for someone else. And that's a really beautiful thing. I also had to let go of the nonprofit thing. I let go of all the I honestly had no problem letting go of all the consulting. That was a bit like, woohoo, I'm done with that. That was easy. So there's easy things that are, you're like, I'm just doing this because I should be doing this. That's easier to let go of. But the stuff that you're deeply emotionally connected to can be a lot harder. So for me, it was teaching. And so that was really tough to let go of. Another big thing I had to let go of in order to grow was mom guilt. I'm sure there's lots of potentially any parent guilt. It's not just moms. I know dads can feel it too. But you have to be willing to let others come in to help.
There ain't no guilt like mom guilt.
That's for sure. It can be really tough because you love your kids. Like, who do you love more than your kids? Like, nobody. You love your kids more than anything. And so if you're ambitious and you have a young family, that can be really tough. It can be tough to manage because all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, should I be at home? Should I be spending more time with them? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And you're like shitting all over yourself. And we had a conversation one night because you were looking for a nanny. Like we were kind of in this phase of growth where we're like, we probably need more help at home. I want to start working more, but you couldn't find a nanny. And then we sat down one night and you're like, I can't find someone to save my life. Like, what the hell's going on? I remember you saying this and I knew it was coming. I was like so scared.
I'm a good manifester.
You are.
That's what I said to you. I said, I'm good at getting what I want with these ideas. So to not be getting what I want, there has to be a problem.
There's a block.
Yeah.
There's something blocking it. It was me for sure. And I knew it. And I was so scared to tell you. I was like, I don't know if I should be at home. And I don't know if I should be working. I was caught in limbo. I was caught in indecision. Because as soon as you're holding on too tight, you're scared to let the rock drop. You can't move forward. And I think that's where we were at.
And the rock can be good. That doesn't necessarily be like some bad thing,
No, God, no. It's not like being with my kids is a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like certainly if I'm ambitious and I want to work, I'm going to need some help, right? Like I just have to accept that. And so it was for sure me. And when I kind of reconciled that, we talked it out. I was like, yeah, it's me. Like I can't make it. I hadn't made the decision. If I'd made the decision, you would have found a nanny. But I hadn't made the decision. And so I can't remember what you asked me specifically. Something like, well, are you going to work? Are you going to kind of let this happen? Basically, are you going to let this happen? And I said yes. And within like a day, we found a nanny.
Yeah. I think it was under 24 hours.
I'm pretty sure I texted someone I knew that was like open to that. And I liked her and I trusted her and she was great. And
like that night.
And like that night, we had somebody lined up to start like the following week or something.
You can't live in two places at once.
No.
Your consciousness can't be in one place. And then you're looking out at your results and you're like, well, why isn't it there? It's like, no, that belly fat is exactly perfectly designed based on what you've been eating or how your body's been responding.
Yep.
It's your habit nature, and you can't have two habits at once. So when you start to understand that if there's anything on the outside, it's because there's a consciousness or a state of mind on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed, Jacq, that whenever you talk about this topic, and I think it's important for the listeners to get this, you tear up.
I do.
You're teared up right now.
Oh, for sure. Because it's like, it's still emotional. And it's not that I haven't let it go. It's just, it reminds you, brings you back to that time.
And it can be difficult, right?
Oh, sure. And I don't have any regret. I want you to know that. Everyone should know that. I'm not like, I regret all these decisions. It's just they're emotional.
And it's interesting because, like, you don't regret it.
No.
You love the 30-day-year philosophy.
Of course. It's given us so much and allowed us to give others so much. But letting go is friggin' hard. And especially if, like I said, like I love my kids. Like and it's not that I'm a workaholic. Like I still see my kids every day. I still spend lots of time with them. We still take lots of trips. It's not like it's not like they're gone from my life. Like that's crazy. They're still a huge part of my whole life. My whole calendar still revolves around them. All I did was just accept some help. And I kind of have this thing I say sometimes where I'm like, oh man, if someone is willing to help me, if I need the help, I always accept it. I know I can't do everything on my own. And I think women sometimes for sure think they need to do everything on their own. they have to be super mom and they have to be world class and they have to do all these things, and it's not fair. It's not possible. So yeah, you just have to realize that, accept the help. There's no shame in accepting help.
Yeah, and it's like to go from, $100,000 a year lifestyle to $1 million a year lifestyle.
Sure.
You have to let go of the $100,000 lifestyle.
Oh, for sure.
And then if you want to go to a $10 million lifestyle,
yeah.
you have to let go of $1 million lifestyle.
Right.
And that sounds ridiculous
It
because you're
does.
like, come on, like $1 million lifestyle, like that's insane. Like a $1 million
sure.
a year going through.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. So you have to let that go. And then if you
Yeah.
want to go to a $100 million lifestyle, you have to let go of the 10 million. And at some point you'll be tempted to stay at a
yes,
place. But
definitely.
what we need to grasp is that the 30-day year philosophy is not about the attainment of the 30-day year. It's about growth. So the purpose of a goal is not to get, it's to grow.
For sure. Even like, it's really cool to even think, we hired a nanny that day after that conversation. And she was with us for 8 months or something like that. And now flash forward to today, like we have a full-time personal assistant that works with us. And
Right.
she's kind of like this virtuoso that does all kinds of things for us. Like she will help with kids. She will help with meals. She'll help with like getting school bags ready. She'll pick up the girls. She'll drop them off at activities. Like she's like an extension of our family now. And it's through having a person like that around that honestly creates just space for me to focus, creates space for us to be able to be confident that our kids are taken care of if we need to travel for work. And it gives us this like incredible gift so that we can continue to grow because we were willing to let go of some of those responsibilities and entrust them to somebody else. And it's been an incredible opportunity for us to grow. Like I don't think we would have grown nearly as quickly if we didn't have that kind of support. And it honestly goes back to that conversation of us in the living room just being like, Jacq, are you willing to let in some help? It's like, well, I have to be willing to let in some help.
Yeah.
And then over the years that just evolved into a more refined role in order to continue to help support our family life. And honestly, we bring someone like her in, not so that we don't spend time with our kids. It honestly gives us time to spend time with our kids. And that's an important differentiation to understand too, because she's there to help us prep meals, prep lunches, keep the home tidy, like do all those like running around errand things. Like she easily saves me 20 to 25 hours a week or more sometimes, depending on the circumstance, so that I can have more quality time with my kids, which is huge.
Yeah, it's huge because any parent will know. And I think it's important that we talk about parenthood and the 30-day year philosophy because any parent will know that, when you have children, the next thing you know, you're not, a lot of times what I found is that you're not really with your children. You're cooking the meal, then you're cleaning up after the meal.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, all your time is going to these tasks.
Yeah.
And without clearly defined goals, we'll find ourselves strangely loyal to daily trivia.
That's right.
And to open those little spaces to have someone else do that so that you can go actually do something else with your children is huge.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, honestly, it's a key to burnout too. Because like a parent is working all the time. Let's be real. Like if anyone has kids, they know it's like there's no downtime unless someone is taking care of your kids. So like as soon as the workday ends, the workday begins. And so if some of that work is at least taken care of, that allows you to decompress a little bit or just relax a bit, just have a bit of quality time. And without that, it's just grind, work. So you just need to be able to build spaciousness into your lifestyle. And honestly, me letting go of some of that mom guilt has brought that in and has helped us.
It's like, you ever see some of your friends after, 10 years and you're like, whoa, really? They really let themselves go.
Honestly, those people are just busy as hell. Just need to accept some more help.
That's right. So it's interesting
Yeah.
because it's definitely related to the belief system. It's related to the paradigm.
Yep.
And expectations and assumptions. And to begin to, people say, oh, I don't have time for that. Well, really what it is that you're not challenging your perception of time. You're not challenging how you use your time.
Yeah.
I remember reading, there was some pastor who was talking about like social media addiction and cell phone addiction. And he said, those 2 hours that you spent on your phone last night, what weren't you doing?
Yes.
Right? And it's like a different shift. And I was like, oh, that's really good. Like, you know, when you were on your phone for those 2 hours and your children were at home, what weren't you doing with them?
Yeah.
So you know what you're doing. So everyone gets the exact same amount of time. We all get all there is. We get here and now.
Right.
And it's interesting because when it comes to money, we have our annual income,
Sure.
but we all only have 24 hours in a day. Some of us are earning nothing. Some of us are earning $100 a day. Some of us are earning $250 a day. Some of us are earning $1,000 a day. Some of us are earning $10,000 a day. Some people on this planet earn $1 million a day.
Right.
Right? So the earning of money has got nothing to do with time.
It does not.
No.
You know, you've brought up an interesting topic because now it feels like we're honestly talking about leverage. Because in order to leverage yourself, leverage your time, leverage your money, you have to let go. Right? So if let's say I save $10K a month and I want to invest that money, I have to let go of that money.
That's right.
I also have to potentially let go of the management of that money and put it into the hands of somebody else and then entrust those people. I could also just hold on to it, save the money, stow it away, squirrel it away. It would maybe not earn any interest or whatever, just kind of sit there. That would be kind of, I would say, ill-advised in the modern world when you can leverage it. But if I'm going to do it properly, I'd want to have experts come in and help me leverage it. You know, if I want to leverage my time, if I want to achieve a big goal, if I want to like focus on building another, let's say, service or product or seminar into our business, well, either something else has to go or I have to learn how to leverage my time better in order to let that other opportunity flow in. So does that mean I need better staff? Do I need more capacity in my team? Do I need to hire somebody to help me? Do I need another assistant? Like, how am I going to leverage my time in order to like bring in more opportunity to then grow the income, grow the opportunity, grow the business, grow the clientele, whatever it is. But letting go and leverage are very closely tied, which is kind of interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And to be able to release your beliefs, your income, because it's really your beliefs that's controlling everything. Your paradigm controls your use of time.
Yeah.
It controls your effectiveness. It controls your creativity. It controls your logic. It controls your income.
Yep.
It controls your perception. It controls everything. So as you start to learn to neutralize any other belief that is opposing to the 30-year philosophy, your life's going to start to be like a roller coaster. You're going to have an amazing ride because now you're detaching.
Yeah.
And I remember the first 18 months of living this way, there was moments where I really did think you could check me into a mental institution because you're letting go of so much.
Yeah.
So the 30-day year philosophy is really steeped in letting go, in the achievement of it. And as you learn how to let go and make those big decisions that can be very, very emotional,
Yeah.
because you're not always letting go of something that you don't like. I think it's easier to let go of something that you're not enjoying or you don't like.
Sure.
But if you actually like something and that something that you like is actually blocking your own progress, those kinds of decisions are much more difficult.
Oh, yeah. So tough. The toughest. But it's always that same famous quote, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. So it's a really scary thing to let go of something you love, but you have the sense that it may need to go. There's usually a really profound and important reason why it needs to go. Thank you for listening to the 30-Day Year podcast. If you liked this episode, hit subscribe and never miss a new one. To learn more about us, visit conwaymentorship.com. If you have a question for us, drop us a line to hello@conwaymentorship.com. Before the next episode, I recommend picking up a copy of The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. She has prompts, questions, and a whole bunch of exercises to help you begin understanding what you need to let go of.
Produced at
Sound Lounge by T-Bone.